Hello everybody and welcome to a video about how to create sceneries in Flight Simulator 2020. My name is Coca-Cola, Ala13 Coca-Cola. That's my nickname in the squadron I usually fly. And in the past months, I have been working and trying to create good sceneries for Flight Simulator 2020. Specifically, I was trying to recreate my hometown in Spain, Oviedo, where I lived when I was a kid. Now I live in Manchester, in England. And what I have noticed is, well, I taught myself how to do it, how to use the different tools in order to create those files. I was following a process in order to create all these things, trying to avoid that the files that I produce take a huge toll in the user's computers. To my surprise, when I try to use what the products, the mods that other users have been given to us, to the community, to my surprise, they are very difficult to use, because when I try to fly on those areas, even if they look fantastic, that they do, they are beautiful, but they are very difficult to move around it. The FPS, the frames per second, drop dramatically on those areas. So in my mods, I always trying to minimize the impact in the user computer. This is a process that takes a long time to do and requires an enormous amount of patience and try and error. Not everyone is willing to do it, but I think it's the best way. So because I've been doing videos for the Spanish community for a long time, I want to do this video just for the English community, so I can share the process and the things that they do with you guys as well. Everything that I'm going to talk today, more or less, I already said or I already talked in previous videos in Spanish. So I'm going to do a capture. I'm going to go through everything. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to get the images, how to set up the files, the computer, how to organize everything. So I'm going to go from scratch, and even I'm going to talk about how to add lights, night textures to the models we download, because that's another thing. A lot of the people who get them directly from Google Earth, they don't bother to give to their mods night textures. So if you have already seen what I do or what can I do, this is going to be a repetition in English, but a repetition. And if you already know how to do some of the things, you can skip the first part, in which I will talk about how to set up the system, how to allow the computer, how to set up the flight simulator in order to work with the SDK. But a lot of things I'm going to talk, if you have been just converting from Google Earth to the flight simulator, or aim to you, they are going to be relevant for you. So stay with us. You can skip the parts you already know. And okay, without further ado, let's start. Let's begin. Obviously, the first thing you need to have is Flight Simulator. And in order to create new sceneries, you have to have, in the settings, you have to have enable the developers mode. How do we do that? We simply go to options, general, and here when it says developers, just simply click it in on, apply and save. Okay, you will see that now you have this new menu on top of your flight simulator, and we still don't have the SDK, so we still don't have the software that we will need in order to create all the files. So in order to create that, we can go help, and then in samples, sorry, not in samples, in SDK, we will do SDK installer. We click on it, and it will download the installer for the SDK. It's 1.9 gigabyte. I already have it, so I'm going to cancel the installation, and I'm going to just show you in the folder. Okay, here I have it because I downloaded before. Double click on it, and just let's uninstall it because I installed it first, and then I'll install it again. Okay. Give me a second, I start recording, I will reinstall it again. Okay, so I don't have it now. I will go again to the file, SDK installer, this one. I agree with the terms and license and everything. I click the options because I want to change the browser. I'm going to install it in a place I can access it very easily. And I already have here in games one folder where I put everything from Flight Simulator. So that's the folder I'm going to choose. And I'm going to call it SDK, so I don't get confusion. Okay, and I install it there. Yes, I'm going to take some time. It will go through the whole process. I will apply everything and say okay to everything. So give me a couple of minutes and I will be with you in a second. Well, it finished. I say everything by default, okay to everything. So it's now installed where I ask it to be installed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and exit Flight Simulator because I don't need it for the time being. So I'm going to do something else. So I'm going to quit to the desktop. I leave everything as it is. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare some files for the where I'm going to create my new project. So for that, I open that place where I get the SDK. Okay, you have all these folders created, and one of them is called samples. I open sample, and these are samples of the projects for every type of things you want to do. You see, airport, materials, and one of them is called simple scenery. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy to the desktop and I'm going to modify it to suit my needs. Okay, so imagine I want to create one city, recreate a city called Avilés. That's something that could be in my next project. So basically what I am going to do is I'm going to give the name to the folder, then open it and remove everything I don't need. Okay, I need a folder called package definitions and another one called packet sources. Packet definitions is going to have the information about the project. Okay, so let's start with this one. You will see that it has this placeholder name, my company scenery simple. I'm going to call it Avilés, and then it has an HTML which also will have information about the project, and I'm going to rename the file as Avilés. So, and inside I don't touch anything. I will be modifying those files within the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 when the time comes. And here in this XML, I will open it, and you will see that it has one placeholder name here that I will replace with Avilés again, and then here it will have two files that will point at this same folder, page definitions, but it is pointed by default to the old folder. So I will replace it for the name of the new folder, Avilés, through the names, and same thing here, content information. It will be in a folder called Avilés. Okay, which this folder refers to this one, and this one content info. Okay, so now I can save it. I'll keep everything as it is. You will be able to modify all this information within the editor later on. So we save here and we go back, and then in package sources, which is where all the content, so where the textures and all the files that you will create are going to be hold, we are going to call it we're going to call it, let me go here again, scenery project is the other XML, okay, that also has one placeholder that point at the XML file from before, aviles. We will modify this as well. Save it. And then this file, if you want, this is not important for the moment, but I will call it aviles as well. You can keep it the name of this one because nothing is pointed at this one, but I'm going to call it as the folder. So as you can see, there is a few changes you have to do in these files. Then the package sources has this scene folder that will be recreated once you work in the editor. It has information about the objects, but you have no object whatsoever. This is a placeholder, so you can just simply remove the entire thing if you want. And then the model lib, which is the most important of all the folders, because it's where all the little where all the information about your creations are going to be stored. It has these two files that are samples. You may delete them as well, and it has one file called texture, is where all the textures are going to be. At the moment it has some as an sample, and you can delete them because they are just simply samples. Okay, you will create your own ones, so you leave it clear, but the folder should be there, and that's what you do. Okay, and this is now prepare for our project. I'm going to show you a finished project now, so you can see how it looks once you start doing things. This is, I'm going to keep it here somewhere. I will work in the future with it, not today. I'm going to carry on doing my own, I mean the one I already started of my hometown Oviedo, and I'm going to show you how it looks like at the moment, so you can see an example of this file, but with months of work on it. Okay, so this is the folder that I'm working in right now. You see that in this same folder called Flight Simulator, I created this called Custom Scenery. This is my own folder, and also I have another one, Projectos, in which I keep everything I'm working, like the raw files. Okay, this Custom Scenery is where I always build my projects, which is the same file that started like that one you saw from with the name Aviles, but now forget about these two, because these are two files, two folders that you create once you when you start building your project. But you can see the key ones: package definitions, package sources. In here, package sources has model lib, package sources have model lib. As I said before, the scene is created once you start working in the simulator. And here in the model lib, you see that it has all the files, all with different names of different areas of the town. And there is also here one folder called texture. Here, texture, that in my case is full with all the textures of all the projects that I've been working with. Okay, so how we move from here to there? Okay, for that, well, that will be the second step. So far we have all the files we need ready and prepared. Now we're going to work with the extra software that we need in order to create those files. Okay, but basically, in order to start transforming or transferring from Google Earth to Flight Simulator 2020, you need two programs and one plugin. The first program you will need is called Earth2 MSF F2 MSFS. This is the first program you need, and this program will transform Google Earth to a set of files that Blender is going to be able to read. You can find it online. It's free. Let me Google it so we can find it. Sorry, I close something I didn't want to close before. Earth2 MSF. Okay, sorry, I don't know what I look for, but I cannot find it now. Earth2 MSFS. Here it is. So Google Earth Decoder, now user friendly. Download it here. Okay, this is the software you need, and it's a very I don't think it's this one. Let me check. Oh yeah, here or here. I don't know why it's giving me this Yandex disk. I don't want to download this shit. Sorry. Here it is. Decoder.zip. Okay, there are several websites you can find, I guess, that have it. It's October 2020. This is the last one, maybe. The tools are available here. Okay, there are a few. Okay, you see Blender, here is this is the toolkit. Look, here you have everything. Okay, the second thing we will need is Blender. Blender is a software which is free that will allow you to work with 3D files. Okay, the last version is 2.92, but because the plugin we're going to use is a bit old and is not optimized for this, at least when I start working with this, the version I use, and is the one that I know it works, is the version 2.83.6. okay, how do you get that one? I think if you go to download, you can get other versions, and you can check Windows. Let me see. Oh no, I don't want this one. Download. I think there was a way. Okay, there is a 2.83. Let me see if I can get. There is a way of getting them old versions. I know there is a way because I did it. Let me find it. Okay, I found it just Googling Blender all the versions, and you have here a link for all the versions. As I said before, the one I'm using is the 2.83.6. So I don't know exactly. 83.6. I think it's this one. 2.83. I think it's this one. So that's the one you will need to download. 83.6. Here you have Windows. Okay, so that's the version you need. As I said, the last time I checked was a couple of months ago. I don't know if right now the 2.9 latest version works with the plugin. The plugin you need is this one. It's from August 2020 and is the Blender to MSF Toolkit 0.40.0. Okay, you have information here about what it does in Blender, and it allows us to export what we create into the simulator. And once you have it, okay, you open Blender. You can add the mods. I think you have to have them in a folder in the zip format, so you don't have to open them or do anything else. And here in help, you can go to not in help, sorry, in edit. You go preferences, you go to add-ons, and then you can install an add-on. It's going to ask you where it's from, where it is. You click on it, and it will install it. So it's as simple as that. Okay, so let's close Blender from the time being, and now we have everything ready to MSFS and Blender with the plugin ready to work. You don't need anything else. Let's start getting something from Google Earth. Here we have the file that we were talking before with Avilés and all the folders inside, the one we created. There was one thing I forgot to mention. Okay, this is going to have all the information, all the data, like name and the pictures and everything about the package. And this will have the content of the BLGs, all the textures, and also the frames of the objects. And they are all be kept here in this folder called model lib, okay, as I showed before in the other map. Some people said that there can be conflict because every single package has the same name, so we can have just a small change here and call it, for example, Avilés _ model lib, so there is no conflict with any other file. Let's do that. And because I changed this folder, which is not the name that comes from default here in the XML, sorry, not in the XML, in the package definitions, where it comes this, which creates this XML file, we have to change it also the name. Okay, model lib, we're going to call it Avilés model lib. Okay, everything else can be kept the same. That's a small change that I wanted to do. Okay, so let's carry on. Okay, the first step is I open the Earth to Microsoft Flight Simulator and I go to the area I want to recreate. In this case, because I'm starting to work with Avilés, we come into where Avilés is located in the map. Okay, and I want to do specifically this very iconic building that you can see here next to the sea, which is the Niemeyer building. Okay, is kind of very iconic center for art. So with the right button of the mouse, we select the area. Let's do this. Okay. And then we select an output folder where we're going to have it. I have already. Okay. Let's go to where I usually keep them. I have a folder created called projects, or proyectos in Spanish, and I already have Avilés. And let's create a map here, a new folder. I'm going to call it Niemeyer, that's the name of the building. Select the folder, and you see it's here. And then I'm going to select some level of distance, or sorry, level of details, which is how many different copies of the same object do I want, and with what different levels of detail. How the best way, the compromise between amount of information and performance is having 20 to 18, and it's 3 levels, which is enough for the simulator. We do, you know, it's 1,579 files. It's going to download them. Then we're going to work with it on the Blender, with the Blender. So we just wait until it copies everything. Doesn't take very long, as you can see. Okay, once it's finished, it's done, we can close it. We don't need it for the time being again. So now we're going to where we have our folder, because we're going to do one step before using it with the Blender, which is coming here to the projectors. It's only one folder, and you will see that it has already created the files model.lib and scene. This could be exported directly to the simulator, but we are not going to do it because we want to clean and change some things first. I'm going to delete scene because we don't need it. We're going to recreate it, and then we're going to get into, we only need these files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the textures in the folder textures within the folder model.lib. I will cut them and move them, place them within the other files. So all the files are going to be together, the textures and the information. And then we can remove this texture file because folder, because now it's empty. And now with that, we can go back. With that, we're going to open the Blender. Okay, we open Blender. That's what we have when we open it. We press escape to get out of the welcome page, and there is 3 welcome items we're going to remove: the camera, this square, and this light. We're going to remove it. So we have an empty space here, an empty space here, and we have one folder called collection, and we're going to rename it to X00. This is important because this is going to tell the computer later that when we export these files, this is going to be the max detail folder. Okay, we're going to create another 2. The second one is going to call X01, and the third one is going to call, you guess it correctly, X02. Okay, we hide the last 2, and we're going to work with this one first. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to import, and the format we're going to import is this one that is native of the simulator. We're going to go to our project area, select Avilés, Niemeyer. We're going to the model.lib, and you see there is a lot of files. Okay, we're going to start working with the load 00. So just here in the search, we write load 00, and it all highlight all of them. We click in the first one, go to the last one, and with the shift key, we click all of them. So you see I have selected all of the load 00, and we import them. Will take a few seconds, and it's going to import the files into the simulator. See, spinning wheel, but we will have it in no time. This one is the most detailed, so when you work with this particular set of objects, is the one that's going to take more time than the other ones. For this and for the rendering and for everything. Okay, it's already done. you see, oh, but I cannot see anything. Where is it? Okay, go down, 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 and you see it's here up there. And you cannot see it properly because the camera is a bit away. Okay, you see it's hidden. So we're going to do some modifications in the working area in order to see it. We're going to work only with that bit here. The rest is irrelevant, but you need to see it properly. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to select on this bottom here that this allows me to change into the different viewpoints. This is the shading. This is the shading with the textures. Give them a second to load. Okay, now you have the whole area perfectly highlighted. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the distance in which this disappears. So I can have it here to 3000, for example. 3000 meters. And now you see that I can see the entire area with no problem. Okay. As you can see, these are individual files. I mean, you see them correctly, but this file, if I highlighted, is this one here, and this one here, and this one here, and this one here. I only need this area in the center. I don't need the rest. But what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them. So I click in one and press A. And then with the mouse inside the main screen, left control J. It's taking a while. And then they combine all of them in one big thing. Okay, you see here. Okay, we're going to work with that. These nodes are not needed. We can delete them. And we can move this now. We can call it, for example, Niemeyer load 00 is the first one. We move it to the 00. Now we highlight the second one and we import again. Import the load 01. Load 01. Select one. Select the last one. So all of them are selected. Import. It's going to be imported exactly in the same place as the previous one was. So one is on top of the other, and they have, because they have the same exact place. So you can see if I remove this and highlight this one, it's on top of each other. Okay, sorry, this one is not, I didn't put them there anyway. So now the same thing, we select one, we press A with the mouse within the main room, the main area, left control J, and we click, we join them. Now click again here, and we're going to call it Niemeyer load 01. We place it, okay, we place it in the number 2, is here, we hide it, and then we go to the number 3. Import again, load 02, which is the last one, all of them. We select the top one, the last one, check that everything is selected, import, and we do the process. This one is quicker for the third time. Select all of them. You see here that the squares are bigger. Control J, so everything is quicker and is Niemeyer LOD 02. Well, so we have now one load, the other load, and the third load. Okay, we select all of them, and we're going to do something. They're in object mode, the 3 of them, and we're going to do something else now that is very useful for later on. No, actually, we're going to clean it first, and then we will do that. Okay. But before everything, just to save everything, if there is a problem or a mistake or something, I'm going to save it. So I'm going to save as here in Niemeyer. I will call it Niemeyer base. So I have a base of the file. So if I have to go back, I can go back to this initial state if I made a mistake. And then I'm going to save it again, Niemeyer first stage, for example, something that it allows you to know immediately which is your first, your second, or your third saving. So I have a copy of this original file, and we're going to start work with the copy. So if anything goes wrong, we can go back to our original state. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is clean the area or select the area we want for our simulator. And for that, we have to remove all the area, all the points that we are not going to use. So we're going to restrict the area to this triangle here. Okay. And for that, what I need to do is I select here, select the three of them again. And here I change from object mode to edit mode. You will see that now you will see instead of the areas, it's going to be the points. It's going to load them a little. It's going to take a little. Okay, all these are points. And even we will see more because if I click in this button here, I see even the 3D, which means I will see also the ones below. Okay, so the area I want to work with is this triangle. So I'm going to select, I'm selecting for the 3 layers at the same time. Here, the select lasso tool, I'm going to be generous about the area because then I will be able to be more specific when I work one by one. I select this area, that's the one I want to keep. And then left control I, India, it will revert the selection. So now it selected everything else. And the only thing I have to do is right click, delete the vertex or vertices or vertice, whatever you call them. Will take a few seconds because it's deleting a lot. And then you will see that if we go to object mode, again for the 3 of them, we're working with a more manageable area that we want to work with. Okay. So this is the area we're going to work with. And the next thing we're going to do is, in order to work comfortably with the item, you see this point here is the center of the object. So the object will rotate or whatever towards this point. Because we remove everything, it keeps the original point. So I'm going to move this to this point as a center. How this program works is this circle around the point is the 3D cursor. I can move it around, just clicking the shift key plus the right button. So I'm going to put the cursor below and more or less in the middle of the object. If you look around the 3D, you will see that this is perfectly located. Sometimes it's difficult to see the perspective. And then what I'm going to do is I move the origin, this point, for the 3 items from the 3 layers at the same time to the cursor. For that, what I do is click in Object, select Origin, and Origin to 3D Cursor. So it has moved the point here again. So this is the point towards every item will rotate or move or expand. It doesn't make much difference now, but later on when we're working in the simulator, it will make a difference because it will recognize this point. And then this area, I'm going to move it to the center of the map just for me to work better and more comfortably to see all the points. This step as well is not necessary, but this is interesting to do. I mean, it helps you. For that is Shift S. You have this menu, and you see among this menu you can get the cursor to the world origin, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll do it again because it doesn't work. The cursor went to the world origin. It goes back to the initial set middle place, whatever. You click again, and then selection to cursor, and then the whole thing will move there. And then you can do even more, and you can do tell the camera to center into the object, any of the three, because the three of them are together, so it doesn't matter. With this, you can tell the camera where do you want to locate your camera. So now the movement is in the middle, everything rotates around that point. Okay, so it's easier to work with. Okay, so now we're going to start removing every bit that we don't want. Okay, so for that we only need this building, okay, which is the Niemeyer building, and we are going to remove everything else. We can keep the ship, but I don't think it's worth it. Okay, we will work with that later on. We will keep this area here, and we're going to remove everything here as well. Okay, so for that, what I need to do is get in edit mode, and now we're going to work one by one. Let's start with this area. You see all the dots. I can hide the other two. So click here, click in the item, and we go to edit mode, and you see all the dots. Okay, and with the lasso we can be very specific, move around with this gizmo here. I remove this, I don't need it anymore, but this is to move around. Select, remember to select the X-ray, otherwise you won't see across it. The ship is going to be a bit more challenging, but the lasso tool, I can select what I want to remove and just delete vertex. You see, if you want to be more specific about an area, like for example removing those ship, maybe I want to keep them. Do I want to keep them? No, I want to remove them. And the problem if I do that is, you see, it's going to remove also the wall. Go back and think about it again. Maybe I don't want to. Let me check in object mode. It's a bit tricky. Okay, let's keep them for the moment, because they are close to the wall and it's going to be difficult to remove them without removing parts of the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be practical and have a compromise in between what I remove and what I keep. There is always this type of things when you're working with this. So let's go again to edit mode. I'm going to remove this area, and if there is an area that is difficult to remove, you can always press K and create a knife that will cut or create a line through the area you want to remove. It will help you to be more precise in what you want to cut. Okay, enter, and now with the lasso I remove everything outside that area. Okay, I can also make zoom with the mouse wheel. Let me see if I remove too much. Okay, I'm going to, if it is next to the sea, I'm going to, place them a bit lower. I remove this area. With the less information ones, it's going to be more tricky. Let's remove this area as well, and a bit of this area. Move it around. I'm going to get rid of all this area here. I'm going to leave a bit of the road so can help as a guide. Here as well, this area out. And the road, I'm going to remove it completely. This one over there, I assume the Bing have their own. Okay, this bit. Okay, I will remove this as well. And here I try to remove the C area. Not entirely, because I will need a bit to that will help me to use as a guide. This is all gone. I don't need it. And this is all gone. I'm going to try to merge it with the original Bing file. Okay, so now I think it's finished. Let me check the other side. Let's see how it looks in in object mode. Okay, that's what is going to be seen. A bit of water is not killing us. The original is not very good either. So that's what I'm going to try to place in the area. Okay. Okay, so I hide the first one. Let's go to this number 2. It has less detail, so it's going to be slightly more difficult to manage. So we go, click on it, go to edit mode again. Okay. I'm going to try to remove it without destroying the scenery. This vertex. Okay, may keep a bit of, I can check at any point what I have removed in the previous one to try to match more or less what I did in the previous one. There's going to be like 3 layers of removal. I don't want to select it, I just want to see it. So I don't destroy this one. Okay, this one is going to be around this area. Yeah, more or less. And then this road again, all of this out. And this is the road that goes along the area. And this area here as well of water, we don't need it. Okay, so I can remove this one's left here. So how does it look like, this one now? Well, this is the more close. Oh, there is some weird artifact here I want to remove as well. They're like parts of trees or some kind of vegetation that is standing out a little. So, and here as well, I think. Let me see how it looks like. Yeah, that area needs to be clean as well. You see that thing that is like a wall or something, but it doesn't look nice. So I'm going to remove this area here. And this area is going to be tricky because it's very close to the wall. But let's see if I can do it. Okay, I have to kill a bit of the area. Those trees have to stay. It doesn't matter because it's a, and this vortex here in the bottom, you can also delete them. But always be aware that they may be linked to the top, like here, and then gaps can appear. No, it's actually, they were not like that. So let's redo it. So if something like that happened, like there is a gap, you can always fix it. Selecting here the move button. This is a plain color. No, this is not a good idea. Let's try this one. It's a plain color, so it's not going to be very noticeable, and we can close the gap. Okay. Same with this one. So you always can play with all this, but anyway, this small imperfection, it doesn't really matter that much. Not going to be that noticeable. This is not the closest view, as you can see. Okay, let's see the edges. It seems all right. And let me revise, by the way, the more detailed one. Okay, I want to check that everything goes more or less without weird artifacts in the middle. It's impossible to do it perfectly because obviously what we're doing is try to adapt something. This area is not going to be nice, however. Okay, I think the compromise is there. Okay, let's go for the last one, which is the most, the less detailed one. Select on it, edit mode. Okay. We delete some vertex. And there is areas like cities. Sometimes it's more complicated. It depends on the area. But there is every new item I work with is a different challenge. I think that's quite neat actually. Remove this one only. Remove this one only. This one's. This one. This is the level of detail with less information, and is the one is going to be seen from the higher distance. So it's not really a problem if we make some compromises with this one. Let me see how it matches the other ones. Okay, so I can remove a bit more here. So it's not this one, the one I wanted to move. This one. Actually, I can delete this one. Oops, too much. Okay, let's be a bit more precise with these ones. This one is alone. That's it. Okay. There's a few of them that are, you know, a bit like isolated. You can be very anal about it and try to find loose ones and everything, but we're not going to bother by a few only vortex. As you can see, we ended with a very solid area that is going to be viewed from this distance, so it's not going to be a big problem with it. Okay, So this is the second step. We clean everything. I'm going to even clean it even beyond that. So the next step, let's save it right now. Save it second stage. Okay. And we're going to start with the next part. In the next part, what we're going to do is clean and remove part of the dots that already have. If you can see here, for example, this particular scene has 191,000 verts. How do we clean them? Okay, we select edit mode, click on it first, edit mode, select all, and we're going to merge vertex by distance. And the distance we're going to do is 0.1, which is 10 centimeters. So we click on it and we remove 10,900. So now we halve the number of vortex. And if you go to the object mode, you will see that when I do that, all these strange shadows appear on the screen, appear on the model. This is because it keeps some data that we can remove coming here in this green icon that has in the right, and if there is a layer that is giving you these shadows, we can remove it, and you see, boom, whiter than white. So it comes back to its normal state. So we repeat the process for this one. File, edit, sorry, edit, click on it, edit mode, right click, sorry, not right click, edit, I can't remember. Yeah, it's right click in theory. Why is, oh, because, sorry, select all, I forgot that, merge by distance. It's already set up to 0.01. And we come here and clear custom data. So it removes the shadows. This is done. And then the third one, we do the same. Click on it, edit mode. Not mirror, select all. Merge by distance, both of them. This one 8,000 vertex, so it gets very low figures. And then again come in here and clear custom split normals, and all these shadows disappear. So now we have a very efficient model in 3 versions. Okay. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to work with the textures. So as you can see here, this model has an enormous amount of different files to tell the color and the textures and everything. What we're going to do is unify all this in only one file. And how we are going to do that, you will see in a minute. First, I'm going to record, again, save as, and we're going to call it third stage. Some stages are longer than others. Third stage. So we'll save it. And now we're going to start working with the textures.